I'm Gary Hess, he's Gary Criswell. We're here in the parking lot at Hermitage High School. Over there is Chester Fritz Stadium, and Alan, you can pan over there, and everyone can see. See, we really are in the parking lot. That's Chester Fritz Stadium. Hermitage in there tonight dominated Douglas Freeman. Final was 28-0. Guys using the blower to clean out, so we decided to come out here where we could hear each other. But all kidding aside, the Panthers showed just how impressive they are.
I think they used their depth. I think that was something that I thought Mike Henderson understood that was going to be an uphill climb because Hermitage has so many weapons and it makes them good on special teams. They played field position for a while, got a big play on the last play of the first half, and then kind of cruised in from there once the power running game came together.
Eli Odom had 4 touchdowns tonight. Had some cases where he tried too hard. Jordan Hall really got going over 100 yards, and the defense was just smothering. Hermitage looks very playoff ready.
Yeah, they do. The secondary looked good. They applied pressure without a whole lot of blitzing. They had some key. They showed the ability to stop Freeman on key third down plays. It was a really good defensive effort against a Freeman team that I thought was really, really well prepared. They had a lot of good play calls, and a lot of times Hermitage defenders just beat their kids to the spot.
Okay, how do you assess the Rebels' playoff readiness?
Oh, it's going to get better because they're going to learn. They're going to get some confidence from this because they're going to see they're only 2 or 3 plays away from this game going into the fourth quarter in doubt, and that's what you want when you're trying to pull an upset. They also got to realize that you'll worry about the next time they get a Hermitage or a Bird or a Highland Springs. I don't know how many of those are feasible, but they've got to refocus for this week. They've got to get that 10th win. I think that would be a really good start for that program that's already on the rise.
We'll talk about what we know about the playoffs at this point in a minute, but first of all, a couple other results from tonight. Matoaka bouncing back to beat Thomas Dale. First year for Coach Derek Johnson, a 7-3 regular season.
And he was in a couple other games, and of course he was taken out of a couple other games. It seems to be very, very explosive football down there. It's very entertaining. I'm happy for that program. I'm happy for that community because we know there's some athletes there. We know they rise and fall very, very quickly in boys sports, they seem like, but they've had really glimpses of brilliance in track and basketball and baseball, and some of those kids are coming together and showing up at a football field. And a lot of times that happens when you get a new coach in there. The athletes come back, see what kind of offense you're going to run. You certainly, if you like track meets, if you like basketball on grass, it seems to be Matoaka. That seems to be Matoaka football.
How about Cosby after an 0-3 start, coming back, finishing 6-4 and beating Manchester tonight?
And that 6-4 sounds really good when you talk about the 0-3 start. And we've seen Division VI to be a tournament that it helps to have momentum coming into it. We had a nice run by James River last year, for instance. Cosby made a nice run last year. Thomas Dale made a nice run. So getting that win, getting over the 500 mark, and winning in a game that's important to both teams that's a good win for the Titans.
When in 5A South, what we know at this point is we think Highland Springs is the number 1 seed. We have Hermitage and Bird tied for second. We're not sure about the tiebreaker there. Then on from there, Freeman and Lee Davis playing in the 4-5 game. Then Matoaka 6, Henrico 7, and Meadowbrook 8. Just talk very briefly about Lauren Johnson's Highland Springs Springers going through that Capital District schedule, finishing a 9-1 season, only the overtime loss to Hermitage, and grabbing that number 1 seed.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about that with the number 1 seed, which we think is going to happen, without mentioning that Hermitage has a win over them and a 10-0 record, and will finish behind them.
And Bird's 10-0, and will finish behind them.
And 3-time defending champion, oh, by the way. So you've got to, that's going to happen, though, from year to year. And obviously it's going to play out in November and into early December. But I don't believe home field advantage is that critical for any of those 3 teams, even though I could understand, as I talked about before the broadcast today, why Hermitage would want to play here. It's a unique atmosphere. The visitors on the other side with no crowd. And it's just, I think it's a slight home field advantage here, but I think Highland Springs, Loyce Bird, and even Hermitage, if somehow I'm asked wrong, I really don't think home field advantage is that critical. But it is a matter of pride, and it can help you in certain situations.
Real quick before we wrap up, Clayton Cheatham came back tonight, big game. Hanover beats Henrico. Hanover looks ready to maybe make a run in that 4A bracket.
Yeah, I think that would be true because, again, with him at quarterback, and the fact that he threw for 140 yards and ran for 180 yards, and they play an offense that comes at you very, very quickly, should be very effective in colder weather. I just think that's a look that's hard to prepare for, and Hanover's defense is enough to keep them close and make the most of that offensive advantage.
Okay, playoff football's coming. It's going to be fun. He's Coach Chris. I'm Gary Hess. Alan Fisher, he's the man. Holding up on the other side of the camera.
Get the guy's name that was blowing.
Yeah, and we'd like to thank the blower for his help too. Anyway, playoff football.
Really, you're going to call him the blower? You're going to leave it with like that?
You got a problem with that? Next week, we'll have a playoff game. Stay tuned to social media. We'll let you know where we will be on Fox Sports 910.